Good morning. Well, for me anyways. Welcome back to Algebra 2. Take a look at these. Guys, I've told you A, B, H, and K are not going to disappear. So what are the transformations that happen to go from graph F to graph G? Please pause the tape and take a look at these and think about it. So if we look at the differences, we notice we have a negative in front. That's the A position. And this one here is the K position. And A, negative, flips it over the x-axis. And K shifts it up 3. So those are the two things that happen. Here I have 3 transformations. I have something in the A position. In the B position, I don't have anything yet. H, remember I change the sign when I take it out, so it's -2. That means left 2. And this is down 5. So my vertical shrink, 2 left, 5 down. The only thing that's shifting in this one is B does 2 things. That means reflect over the Y. And notice that I go from 3 to its reciprocal, 1/3, so a horizontal shrink. Anything that's with B or H does kind of the opposite of what you think it does. Here I have 2 things. I have A is 4, that's a vertical stretch of 4, and this is my new position for H, so it's going to shift it right 2. So we're going to be able to transform the graphs of exponents and logarithms, and it is all about A, B, H, and K. These are the 2 parent functions for exponents, and these are the equations that they have with A, B, H, and K. Those are the 4 locations that we're going to look at for transformations. They all still mean exactly the same thing. First one is A. It's a vertical stretch or shrink by whatever that number is. Larger than 1 stretch, smaller than 1 shrink. If it is negative, it reflects over the x. B is the horizontal stretch or shrink, and it's always by the reciprocal. So whatever the number is, I flip it. And if it's negative, it's reflected over the y. For H, negative is right, positive is left. Remember that when I pull it out of parentheses, I change that sign. It does the opposite of what I think it would. And K, positive is up, negative is down. Does the same things that it did for quadratics, for every function that we've looked at. So if we take a look at this, what we want to do is look at what the changes are. So I have this, it hasn't changed. The only thing is this -4. That is my K. So if K is -4, that tells me shift down 4. And that's exactly what this does. Even though the graph is curved, there's 4 right here. Any place that I look along the graph, it's 4 units down exactly. If I have it in terms of E, I notice 2 different things, 2 different numbers on here, and what I need to do is figure out what are those. And H, change the sign when I take it out, -3. K is 2. So this is going to be left 3, up 2. So in the graph, I can pick any point at all. And in that point is going to go left 3, up 2. that transformation is identical on every point on the graph. With my next one, I need to think about what this 3 and this 5 are, and that 3 is B. And if B is 3, I have to change by 1/3, so that means it is a horizontal shrink. And then H, since it's inside, I take it out and change the sign, and that means I'm going right 5. And in this one, the change is right here. That is A, and A has 2 things going on, so that means flip over the X. And shrink. With shrinks, make sure that you tell me if it's horizontal or vertical. By 1/8. Okay, you're going to be asked, you have to tell me what the transformations are. It's not just graph, it's transform and graph. Do both. These are the 2 transformations. So can you see that this is shrunk? So here's the graph of the first one, A, and we have a shift that's going to the right. Now that shift doesn't stay the same thing because it shifts further down here, but it doesn't seem to shift as much here. The reason for that is because of the horizontal shrink. So if I take a look at anything in this direction, it's shrunk by 1/3. So those ones, if I'm graphing them, I'm probably going to make a t-table to make it a little bit more sense. Flip over the x-axis and shrink by 1/8. So you notice it's a lot closer to the 0. Okay, I'm always looking for what are the things I have that are changed. In this one, H is +3, K is 1. Once I have that, then I can say what those do, and H is going to be right, three, and up 1. You have to tell me what they do. You have to pick out what the change is. Is it A, B, H, or K? And then tell me what it does. The only thing that's changed here is a K. K is -5, down 5. What's changed? When I look at this, the only thing that's changed is this guy here. He does have 2 things, so B is -3. Anytime I have B, I have to do the reciprocal, so it's a horizontal shrink. It's negative. What does that do? Flip over the y-axis. In our last one, I see 2 different things. So I see A is -1, and H, change the sign when I take it out, -6. What those 2 things do, flip over the x-axis, left 6. Please take the time to think about where it is. Match it with this. If it's A, what does it do? If it's B, what does it do? If it's H or K, take the time to see where it is. Once we do that, these are the pictures of all the graphs. Some of these transformations, you can do okay. Others, I'd probably make a t-table. Especially with the horizontal shrink, I would make a t-table. Those ones are weird for us. Okay, we also have log functions. We have log base 10 and log, that's ln. In both of these, look at the form. What's changed? Where it's log instead of base 2, it's log instead of ln. That's it. Guess what? They mean the same thing. So your goal is to pick out what has changed. We're going from function f to function g. And the only thing that I see changed is in front of the x, that is b. So if b here is negative 1/2, I do two things. Why is it a stretch by 2? Because anytime I have b, I take the reciprocal, 2. Okay, for part b, I have two things. This is my a. This hasn't changed. This is my h. Change the sign when I take it out. What two things do those do? Remember, a, I don't take the reciprocal. It is a vertical stretch. H, I changed the sign. It's left 4. And what the graphs look like on those. So flipping over the y-axis. And sometimes when I'm doing a horizontal or vertical translation from HK, I need to know what line I approach, but never cross. So this is my asymptote. What's going on these ones? You've got to figure out, is it A, B, H, or K? If you can't figure out that, you're going to get these wrong. You have to figure out A, B, H, or K. This one, this is A, and A is negative 3. Look back at your list. You've got to have your notes. What does this do? Flip over what axis? And vertical stretch. I feel like I can't write this morning. Okay, what changes? This B. This B. Notice where it is. It is directly in front of the X. That makes it B. Tacked on, K. On occasion, they put K in front, so they could have said negative 5 plus the log. We should be able to flip those around. And down 5. So this is what the graphs of those two look like. If you can make the shifts, great. If you're confused about the shifts, make a t-table with a couple of the points. That at least gets you the general shape. Now we're going the other way. We're writing the rule, which means I'm writing the equation to do certain things. So I need to see what I'm doing, and is that going to be A, B, H, or K that I change? So in this particular one, I need to do a reflection over the x-axis. That's one thing. Translate 4 units right. No, What are those? Are they A, B, H, or K? Reflection, you look at your notes again and again and again. The reflection is going to be A, has to be -1. The translation, right, that means H is 4, but when I plug it into the equation, it's going to change. It's going to be a negative. So the equation format has a negative right there. Best have it, put parentheses around that. Once you decide, is it A? How do I change it? Is it B? Is it H? How do I change it? And then you plug those into the format. Next transformation, 2 units up, vertical stretch. Those are the only 2 things I see. Then when you're deciding what those things are, this is going to be my K, that is 2. So that means +2. This one is, excuse me, morning voice. Vertical stretch by a factor of 2, that is A, that's going to equal 2. So that goes there. Write a rule, write the equation. Let's keep going with those. Horizontal stretch by a factor of 3. Horizontal stretches are B, and they're always reciprocals. Translation, 2 units up, that's K, and it is what it is. General form of the equation. So B, this is where the 1/3 goes, and K at the end tacked on. Reflection in the y-axis, that's going to be B, is -1. This goes down to here then. Translations, 4 units left. That's H. Now, it's normally left as negative. Remember how that goes in because there's a negative in the general form of the equation. So I know where I'm putting things. A doesn't change. It's got a log. And I need to change 2 things. General form of the equation has a negative here. So B is -1. That means I put a negative here. I don't need the 1. It's implied. Then H changes that to +4. You're going to be writing equations. Just write a rule for G. Write the equation with whichever ones you need to change, A, B, H, and K. Take the time, have the notes, so that you can actually do these. What other things do we have? Horizontal stretch by a factor of 3. B, in horizontal stretches, my notes say reciprocal. Translation, up, that's going to be K, is 2. Now I know I'm plugging in a number for B, a number for K, so I don't have to change or leave a space for A. It is E to the negative. There's going to be something there. There's no H, so I didn't add it here. And E is 1/3. K is 2. Okay, reflection over the y-axis. That means b is -1. Translation, 4 left, h. Now left is negative, but when we plug it in, it's going to change the sign. I don't have an a. I'm going to need space for b and h. b is a -1. H, change the sign when I put it in. Okay, your homework is in the textbook. I'll link the textbook. Please make sure you're getting a hold of me if you have any questions on these. And have a good day.